Hey everybody, I'm David, and today I want to talk about Dunkirk, the new film directed by Christopher Nolan, who you guys might remember directed The Dark Knight, Interstellar, Inception, Memento, and a whole lot more. And this is his newest film, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed this movie. And this is coming from someone who there are a lot of really good World War II films out there, or war films in general. But I'm not like heavily into them like a lot of other people probably are. I know my brother is into them a little bit more. I respect the history of war, but when it comes to films, they're not my favorite. I do love movies like Saving Private Ryan and Platoon, etc. But for the most part, yeah, they're not my favorite films of all time. Maybe with the exception of Saving Private Ryan. I really do love that film. And this film might be up there for me as one of the better war films. I really love the cast that's in this movie. I think all the actors are really good. If there's something you can trust Christopher Nolan on with all his films, is that he knows to cast the right people he wants in his movies. And all of them do a really great job, including some of the veteran actors that we all know, like Kenneth Branagh and Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy, as well as some of the younger actors that we're not too familiar with. Some One Direction fans might want to know, how is Harry Styles in this movie? And yes, people or directioners, Harry Styles actually does a pretty decent job in this movie. I was actually impressed. He didn't take me out of it at all. I forgot that Harry Styles was in this movie because he actually blended in with everybody. So I would say, yeah, the cast is really good and is something that we should always trust Nolan on. He knows the kind of talent he wants and specific people he wants for the roles that he's casting. I will say that the IMAX footage was really great, nicely used in this movie. There were times that I forgot that it was switching back and forth. I could have sworn in the first hour of the movie I didn't even realize that it was switching. Or at least, I don't know if someone can confirm this. Was the first hour of the movie entirely shot in IMAX? Because I only started paying attention a little bit more to that switch towards the end of the movie. But yeah, for the most part, I actually forgot that. I kept thinking to myself, is the whole movie done in IMAX? Because it looks gorgeous. Christopher Nolan knows how to get those great visual shots, and it's just a beautiful shot film. No doubt. As soon as you get right into the beginning, it's like wide, fills up the whole screen, and you're just memorized with what's going on and what you're seeing. They don't hold back. It might be a PG-13 film, but they do not hold back on the horrors of war. You might not see gruesome things, but they do. The movie is intense and still puts you in these intense situations where you think many of the characters we're watching are going to die. I will say, though, that many of the characters, as much as I wanted them to get out of this terrible situation, I did feel that there was no emotional investment in many of them. And what I mean by that is that we don't really care for them the way we should care for them. We want them to get out. I mean, we don't want anybody to die. In real life, we don't want nobody to die. So in the movie, good people, we want them to get out of this war, survive and hopefully have kids one day of their own or whatever. And with this movie, there is at least one storyline where I was a little bit more emotionally invested in, and it was the old man with his son on the boat and the other kid who. No spoilers. But yeah, I felt the three characters on the boat were the ones I was a little bit more emotionally invested in. The ones that I really liked the most. I liked all the characters, but I mean, those were the ones that I think we learned a little bit more about to really get emotionally invested in what they were doing. So yeah, the character situation, character motivation, I mean not motivation, but character growth, I guess, in this movie. If you're looking for characters that you want to learn about, you're not going to get too much of that. I'll say that much. The score was really good. I don't know who done the score. It might have been Hans Zimmer, but yeah, I Nolan knows how to get the right score out of his composers. So, and I really think, as usual, the music helps bring either the intensity or the emotional feel of the film. So, music always works great with film, and here it does what it does. With that being said, I'm going to end this video here. I think the main parts of that. If I were to give anything negative, like I said, it would be the character, the emotional characters, giving us more emotional stakes for them, letting us learn about them a little bit more. But I don't think it was about that. I think the movie, and I'm not trying to defend the movie on this part, but I really do think the idea was getting us into this situation and making us feel as if we were there with these characters. And if that's the case, I think the movie really accomplished that, because I was invested in that aspect of the film. So I think everybody should go check this movie out. I think it's worth checking out, especially if you are a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, and if you are somebody that wants to support original movies. This is an original movie to support. I think it's one of those good ones out there that a lot of people are really talking about. So with that being said, I'm ending this here. Hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to my channel, especially if you are a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, because I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, and I will be doing my Christopher. I watched all of Christopher Nolan's films finally. I've seen a lot of them before, but the only one I haven't seen was Insomnia. So I finally watched Insomnia after all this time, and I am going to do a best to worst, although I don't like saying worst for Christopher Nolan, because I think it's least best to best of all of Christopher Nolan's films. I'm going to be doing that very soon. So with that being said, take care.